Well, it's Tuesday again.
It is, and you have another box.
I have another box. We're doing brass engines that have been stashed in the attic up there for... They've been in storage for 20 years.
In somebody's attic for...
And they've been knocking around, and I wanted to run them, and I wanted to join an HO club and all this different, but we don't have a railroad. We're not going to have a railroad. The local club has fallen down from an earthquake, and just, so it's like, it's going in the display case, and we'll deal with it.
We'll see what happens in 10 years.
We'll go from there. For now, rather than just keep it in the attic in boxes,
it's going to be displayed.
We've hung up another one of our mahogany display cases. It's going in there.
Right.
Anyway, this one, I must confess, I really didn't have that much interest in the engine. It's a neat engine, or I wouldn't have bought it, but it was just available at an incredible price. And Keith had it, and he couldn't seem to get rid of it. And he said, if you want it, it's an Alco, which is nice. He said, I'll give it to you. And he sold it to me for like $80 or something. And I said, well, I can't pass it up.
No.
So I bought it. And then I've never done much with it. I ran it. It runs nice and everything. It was typical Alco models. But it's a USRA. And we've already looked at one USRA in this series on brass engines we've been doing, the one that Denver and Rio Grande operated, the 2882. But during World War II, the government kind of told the railroads, you're going to get this engine. And the railroads would say, but we need that engine. And they'd say, tough, you're going to get this engine, because everything was,
Make it work.
Make it work. World War II. And people, oddly enough, didn't complain.
No, they did not.
They made it work.
Make do or do without.
Yeah, they had little stamps to get milk and everything.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody would have asked them to wear a quarantine mask, I bet they would have.
I'm sure they would have.
I digress. At any rate, the railroads couldn't get what they wanted. You can't always get what you want, but you can get what you need.
Yeah.
And this is what a lot of the railroads got when they said they needed a switcher, is a USRA 080.
Oh, that looks
switcher.
Military.
So it's a very basic little 8. It's a 060 switcher. And tons of railroads had these, and so it was a really smart model for Alco to make, because all the railroads ran them.
Yeah.
But because they kind of lack sex appeal, I guess.
They look very military to me. I mean, they look like they were issued by the Army.
Well, the government just said, what's the most basic engine that will function as a switch engine? There it is.
There
it looks
you go.
like just about every little 6-wheel switch engine you've ever seen, and
comes with the bells and whistles, and
runs on coal, and so it goes.
There it is.
Now you may notice that while it's gold, and it sort of looks like a brass engine, there's no brass there. It's gold paint.
Yes, kind of gold paint. I'd hate to tell you what my mother used to refer to that color.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. It's sort of gold. But a lot of the brass engines, when we looked at that Oriental Limited engine a few weeks ago, and I said it was available in either brass or painted brass. This is painted brass.
Well,
it just means that they've shot the brass engine with a gold paint so that it doesn't tarnish.
Right.
Which I think is kind of a silly thing, but some of these models will be offered one way or the other. This one I think was just offered with the gold paint on it. And a lot of people preferred the gold paint because then you didn't have to prime. You were all set to go. It already had the first coat of paint on it, and they'd use the gold instead of the primer. But I've never been that fond of, because they don't display that well. And if it's going to be painted, it should be painted. If it's going to be brass, it should be brass. But I will agree that, something like this Sidem with all that tarnish,
it ends up the same color. Roughly. But you can clean this, and this is what it is. It's gold paint. Right.
But whatever, it's still a really nice model. It's just painted gold. That's all.
That's interesting.
And I've run it quite a bit. It's a reasonable runner.
It's neat. I like it.
But I bought it because it was affordable.
There you go.
It's kind of the same way that the railroads ended
it's
up
symbolic.
with them. Somebody said, you want this? You got this.
Yeah, there it is.
I said, well, I'm not that interested in it, but okay.
I'll take it.
And so there it is. And I've always enjoyed the engine.
I like it. I think it's really
classic.
Yeah.
It's just a classic 060 switch engine. Nothing fancy. It does have the whistles and bells.
It does. It does. 2 of them.
That was a pun. But it's basic.
Yeah.
It's basic, but it's good. And there it is. And it's an Alco, so it's a first class model. All the details are there. It's a really nice reproduction of a very common, typical locomotive of its day.
It has 1 whistle and 1 bell.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, all the whistles and bells, 1 of each.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, that's where that expression comes from.
All the whistles and bells?
Trains, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in Great Britain, they either put a whistle or they put a bell.
They were worse
But
off than we were.
damn Americans, all
have
the whistles and bells. Yeah,
Yes,
so
all of the
that's
things.
actually where that expression comes from.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, we digress. At any rate, if you haven't been over to the channel, pop on over to the channel. And if you're not a subscriber, here comes the blue button. Are we ready for it?
We are.
Zoink. Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this movie on the internet, and we hope you didn't find it boring. And we will see you here on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because we'll be screwing around, driving around, looking for all kinds of fun.
Getting into mischief.
Getting into mischief. See you then.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.